Good morning, everybody. Today is the sixth day of 1 week international online FTP on innovation, IPR, and entrepreneurship. Yes, a warm welcome. And after getting idea about the concepts of IPR, types of IPR, patent filing, entrepreneurship, startups, and incubation center, we will have deeper acquaintance by knowing best practices for innovation, IPR, and patenting. Being the teaching fraternity, always using our own intellectual for creating the new uh, ideas. Not only that, being teaching fraternity, we are always busy in research, coming out of certain innovations. Definitely, I feel today's topic should be very, very close to every individual who is a sincere teacher. Well, with these few words, I would like to welcome our expert speaker, Vijay Kumar Shivpuje. Sir, before you proceed further, I must appreciate your polls. They are very, very interesting. And definitely, I feel that each and every participant must be responding to all the polls. Well, over to Vijay Kumar, sir.
Thank you so much, uh, Revati, for
Yes,
kind
thank you.
words. Let me just share my screen. So before starting for this particular presentation on best practices, I must actually take this opportunity to thank every one of you who is actually reaching me via email, via phone, or different medias via texting, SMS. I'm actually overwhelmed because of the kind of response that I have received. I've been getting calls from all the IQSC coordinators all across Mumbai and other parts of Mumbai University from different fraternities, the principals, the IQSC coordinators who have been really reaching me to know more about the kind of activities we are directly involved into, or what we have been sharing, through this particular platform, as well as there have been few queries specifically about the videos, or the videos, the recordings of these particular sessions being available to everyone. And there were few queries, can you be actually share it to everyone? So in fact, I would recommend like some of the sessions, like the first one, which was different types of IPR, or the one which was say for the startups, that would be really interesting even for the students, so you can share it for sure with the students. In this total crowd of let's say 400 plus faculties, and if we presume hardly 50 or 60 students per faculty, as such, of course the numbers would be really very high. I think if we are in a position to create at least, kind of one business or one startup which is like, inspired by these videos or this particular program, then probably I believe the actual intent of this particular 7-day FDP is kind of achieved, and it would be a kind of a great satisfaction for the organizers as well for this particular program. So thank you so much. You can share those videos with your students as well, or the other faculty colleagues as well, wherever it is applicable or wherever required. I'm going to discuss today about best practices about the innovation IPR and patenting as such. Now, so when I say best practices, it's not a review of best practices. It's not the something like, which I have read through, but most of these practices are the ones which I have myself experienced through my journey of 3 years within 16 different states and almost 100 plus IPR awareness programs that we did for different universities, colleges, like the autonomous institutions, even schools for that sake. So and what I do is wherever I visit, if I feel like there is a really good practice, I note it down. If possible, if allowed, I take the picture of the same. I'll show you the picture of innovation Dropbox. That idea really stuck my heart on the very same day, and thereafter after that particular presentation, in my each of the presentation, the that particular pic is there about innovation Dropbox actually. So of course this was when we used to visit the institutes, not like per se online. And I'm pretty sure that since we have a good crowd here all across Mumbai from some of the most esteemed institutions as well, from the Mumbai University. I believe this would be an opportunity for me also to learn about best practices that your institute actually has got with respect to innovation, IPR, and patenting per se. Since my area of expertise is more related to IPR and patents, I have more case studies, or I would say more practices in that particular domain. Of course, for any specific query, I can be reached directly. I'm very much accessible to everyone. Now, so with this, also I have a disclaimer here. It is not a legal advice to so based on your kind of institute you are working in, or based on your requirement as such, you can actually use these particular practices as per your requirement. Now, also I have another disclaimer here that I'm including actually some of the best practices which wherein my business is directly involved. That means if I'm telling you something about IPR policy, yes, we are purely in business for that particular activity, so that there is no conflict of interest. I'm pretty sure that this would be helpful for you, but then again the disclaimer is so you can टेक योर कॉल जुडिशियसली जस्ट बिकॉज विजय सर बोल रहे करके हमने ये करना है, ऐसे नहीं है. यू कैन यूज दोज प्रैक्टिसेस जुडिशियसली बिकॉज आई मे बी बायस्ड एट टाइम्स बिकॉज माय बिजनेस इज डायरेक्टली लिंक्ड टू दोज पर्टिकुलर एक्टिविटीज एज सच. So to start with the best practices, I think I shared my journey, what happened with me, how I started 3 years back, and how I actually progressed, or how we actually moved ahead in the 3 years time. But 3 years versus 3 days, that's how I would put this as. 3 days time, 9th September, we had a MHRD notification wherein the government floated draft guidelines for implementation of IPR policy in academic institution. This came from MHRD, Ministry of Human Resource Development as such. Now these are draft guidelines, definitely going to be implemented, and that is one area jahan pe IPR policy is going to be mandatory for each and every institution. Kab hoga pata nahi, but those institutions who are already having research in place or IPR policy in place, they would be kind of having an upper hand. So this happened on September 9th. Let me tell you, 2.5 years say we were preparing for these kind of things happening in the academic world, that there would be some kind of norms, or see, moving ahead, it's just not about providing the education to the students, but making them independent in terms of startup or entrepreneurship as well. That is what is expected from the educational institutions. Unfortunately, I feel the educational institutions uh, in many cases are not actually prepared for that. How can I say that? I have, if you see today's poll, does your institute have an IPR policy in place? So we have got 200 votes, 49%, almost half of them are saying no, we don't have a policy in place as of now. 2% are like, IPR policy, what is it? They have never heard about IPR policy as such. Whatever kind of institution you are, IPR policy, be it into biotech, be it into arts, commerce, management, engineering, be it into education as such, like, in that case, every institution need to have IPR policy. And I think that was one of the reasons. Only thing is, for science-based institutions, you may have more focus on the patent related activities, but in case of arts or education, it may be with respect to the copyright related activities, right? So this news came in on September 9th, 2019, which I believe is, since we are operating in the very same domain, helping the institutions or the universities to have their IP strategy or IPR policy as such. In that case, this is going to boost our business moving ahead for sure once these draft guidelines are in place. Now, there are at least 20% participants, almost 40 people out of 200 have mentioned that they have an IPR policy in place. Now, if you have an IPR policy in place already, that's the best thing I would say. But I would say, as a participant of this particular program, if you have an IPR policy in place, we can provide you I would say pro bono evaluation of your IPR policy. How can you make it a robust IPR policy as such? Okay, in the sense including, and again, these IPR policy is not a common document like attendance policy for the entire university. It has to be customized as per the institution's needs. So this is one thing I would say, those institutions who already have an IPR policy in place, put a mail to me, and what we can help pro bono for making it robust as far as your requirements are concerned. If you have a IPR expert already on the panel, or already kind of serving you, in fact, that's the best thing. You can get a help of that expert as well to make it a robust IP policy. So this is one thing. Second news came just in 3 days time. Government tells institutes to use 1% of budget for supporting startups. Now, 1% of the entire budget, it's not the 1% of the profit, but 1% of the entire budget. Now, how to do this actually? When we are so much over occupied actually, then how can this be done as such? And then I realized this news as well is definitely going to help us in terms of our business or in terms of our activities as such, wherein we are reaching the educational institution to help them having a IPR cell, or in terms of incubation center, or providing them right guidance in terms of entrepreneurship or startup as well. So we were kind of ahead of time. Before these things came up, we were prepared for these things. And for sure, those institutions who have got campuses, or the universities, or the the ones which are autonomous, they have been reaching us to help them out for these two activities. As I mentioned, my business is directly linked to these things, and so it's like when I may be a bit biased in today's session when I'm speaking about IPR policy, or the kind of practices that I have actually seen. And these are not very practices which are, I would say, very different one, or it involves a huge cost or something like that. No, as well as at the end I'll be including actually some of the courses designed, as well as of course these are also part of the best practices, because that is going to help you in terms of achieve your goals as a academic institution as well. Now so what we are going to discuss about four separate things. One is a idea generation, third is a second is a innovation, third is a entrepreneurship related activities at the educational institution level, how they are doing it differently. Of course normal practices हमें पता है, like you have a entrepreneurship cell or MHRD IIC innovation incubation cell, all these things are already there in place at the institution level. But होता क्या है, and that's the actual fact, or that's the experience. In fact, few of the institution, autonomous institution, government institution, big universities or big government institutions as well, they get good funding from government authorities. Like for example, RUSA ka funding hai, that is coming to the institution for the sake of IP related or innovation or entrepreneurship or for the setting of incubation. But unfortunately the utilization of that money is kind of not in a proper direction, or at times that money is lying as it is in the with the institution as it. And in few of the cases, unfortunately, what we have been seen is the money is actually going back to the government as well as unutilized, like not utilized as such. And last 2-3 days what we have seen in startup or incubation is everyone is pretty interested to know what are the schemes under which we get funding. But then if the focus is funding, what are we going to do with that funding, if at all, if we get that funding? That is also something which is really crucial. Are we prepared for the funding to come and utilize it, or is it just for the sake of getting the funding, right? So I'm going to discuss few of those ideas right here. So as I mentioned, the very first thing is idea generation. Of course, there was a mention of hackathon yesterday, annual events happening at different colleges as a kind of a competition to generate the idea, as well as then I have three separate things which really stuck my mind. And of course, we in one of those things we were directly involved. First concept is innovation Dropbox. Let me show you the pic. This is coming from Chitkara University in Chandigarh. This concept really stuck, and I think we discussed a lot about this yesterday, right? About how it is actually working. In fact, you can have a variant for this as well. As for example, if you're a big campus, maybe you can have separate boxes for, let's say, science related, arts related, yeah, business idea related, service sector related, that kind of thing. But make sure that if you have this kind of thing in place at your university or a educational institution, make sure that what you have is actually a process to take those ideas to the next level. If you are just putting that innovation Dropbox at your institution, and those ideas which are coming, if they are if nothing is happening with those ideas, in that case probably this is not going to work for sure. Because if you want to sustain this particular idea to make a real impact, in that case I believe what is required is to use this particular idea very effectively. Have a committee in place, internal committee, who can maybe you can put it under entrepreneurship cell or your MHRD ISC जो internally आपका है, उसके अंदर भी आप ये एक्टिविटी दे सकते हो. या फिर of course, as a disclaimer, that would help my business. You can outsource for someone like us who can evaluate it for you independently. But that would be more of a business. And I don't know, it all depends on the kind of institute you are, whether you would be in a position to do that. So this is one great idea that stuck the mind. Other idea is more about the role models. And the bigger issue with the most of the faculties nowadays is that, I mean, with those ones with whom I'm speaking as well, this generation doesn't listen to us. The students don't listen to us. हमारे time पे ऐसे नहीं था. Let me tell you, every generation has got this particular problem. We need to kind of have a kind of a frequency resonance with them, and how it can be actually done. What kind of role models these students have got nowadays. This idea really stuck me actually when I had an opportunity. Maybe many of you may be practicing this at your institution. This is coming from one of the institutions in West Bengal, Siliguri, jahan pe I had an opportunity to visit this particular institution. This institution has got role models which are the ex-students. हमारे college में what they have done is they have got big banners of their ex-students who have been highly placed, okay, in the sense as with really big corporates, or those who are into entrepreneurs and all. And when I saw the students, actually they are not the names and the ventures, or the they are not someone who has got big businesses or the, like, say, Fortune 500 company kind of stuff, but they are local people, and the students could very easily connect to them as well. And but when they see these role models every day as at an institution, जैसे कॉलेज में जाते हैं, हमारे नोटिस बोर्ड्स हैं, जैसे डिफरेंट चार्ट्स लगाए हैं ना, they had these role models who were their seniors, who were a year or 2 years senior to them. That stuck really well with the students. Reason being, in fact, I had an opportunity to interact directly with the student as well, and because I was pretty much impressed with this particular concept, I asked them what is the impact this is actually making. And let me tell you what, the kind of energy the students showed, it was very much revealing that this idea has actually stuck really very nice. Okay. So I took a pic with, of course, with the permission of the institution, and then I am actually using this particular pic everywhere nowadays, for my presentation, jahan pe bhi mujhe best practices ka mention karna. And this really works in terms of because see, idea generation ke liye what is required, I believe, is also the kind of ecosystem, or I would say the kind of mindset that is actually required, or a motivation. And definitely if the students have that opportunity, and you know what, out of those 10 or 15 students with whom I had a talk after my session, many of them wanted their pick to be right there. Like they had that motivation ki, हाँ मैं इसकी जगह मेरा photo आएगा next year. It's a very small thing, but look at the impact as a student or as a child. This idea actually has got. It is a really, I would say, a wonderful idea. And of course, when we'll see the comments or question, probably we'll come to know more ideas like this as well. And but I would include those ideas only if I have seen it on my own, and if I have my own pick actually. Okay. Then another wonderful concept, maybe many of the institutions may be doing this. One question that generally comes is, can we learn creative thinking? Can we make the student to generate the ideas? Is there a science behind that as well? In most of the cases, the answer is no. In most of the cases, it is inherent. You cannot make a child intelligent to generate ideas, but then there are actually some kind of techniques as well, what we call is creative thinking techniques. Some of you maybe who are into education, teaching into education, education colleges and all, may be aware of some of these techniques. And these techniques actually we conducted a kind of a workshop with respect to creative thinking techniques. If you have heard of these terms, brainstorming, scamper, mind mapping, storyboarding, role playing, reverse thinking, accidental innovation, collaborations, seven thinking hats, and attribute listing or morphological analysis. These are some of the techniques which can actually help the student in terms of in terms of their ability to uh, think creatively, and that is what is required, I believe. And so first of all, I'm not an expert in all these techniques as such, but what we did as a company when we started in 2017, we ran a kind of a series jahan pe we conducted almost 30 creative thinking workshops. Let me tell you, we did it free of cost for all the, and but of course we did it only for the pharmacy colleges because that was our focus at that point of time. We reached 30 pharmacy colleges to conduct the creative thinking workshop under a banner called Pharma Innovation Yatra. And let me tell you, the kind of responses we got from the institutions were really good as such. Now, but in a long run, see, these are the techniques which are again which would be working in a long run, and maybe in short run it would be, for the short run it will be just adding another program to your curriculum or adding another workshop to your curriculum. But then there are lots of experts who speak on these all ideas. Let me tell you about one of the techniques, which is reverse thinking, which is a very simple case study, and all these ideas can be actually taught in the your with the case studies as well. The students can themselves participate in these kind of ideas. Like for example, reverse thinking is an idea jahan pe you have to think very reversely. I'll tell you a case in this particular, and it has actually got a implementation as well in the industry in terms of thinking creatively. And the example is actually a drug which is known as a Viagra. Actually, when the drug was under under discovery, that point of time the drug was meant for the treatment of hypertension. Every pharma or the life sciences people know this. It's meant for the treatment of hypertension, and but it had a side effect actually, and later on, thinking reverse, a side effect they converted into actually a product which is now billion-dollar product for that particular company. This example gives you an idea. कोई चीज का for example, for a particular activity, if there is a side effect or something which is happening automatically because of that, which we don't like, still it can be used in a very constructive or a positive way as such. ये thinking ability student को आना is something which is really I think essential. For example, in case of reverse thinking, I would also, because I tell in the sessions as well, let the students fail at this juncture, at least वो आगे जाके life में fail नहीं होंगे, right? When you are failing, reverse thinking for that is the kind of if you are failed, the kind of, let the student understand that the kind of learnings they would be having through this failure can actually make them stronger and succeed in their career. ये चीज जब तक उनको समझ में नहीं आएगी, okay, and let me tell you, this is one of the, and these are standard techniques, all these techniques, the creative thinking techniques, these are standard techniques. If you Google them out, you would have lot of material, lot of videos as well for these particular techniques as well. Okay, and actually you can have the institutions carrying out workshop under the entrepreneurship development cell or the IIC with respect to creative thinking. At what stage this should be done? That is also an important question. For example, if if the students, this would be really working well when the students are starting with respect to their research related activities as well, or tap them really young, maybe at a very first year, second year students ke liye this would really work well. Reason being, this is going to give them an see what we need to do. As I mentioned, ki these ideas are helping this institution create the ecosystem which would be really helpful for the students creating the ideas. So once they know, okay, ये भी होता है, ऐसे भी करना होता है, like Scamper has got actually Scamper is a like it has a full form like substitute, adapt, modify and all, like mind mapping technique hai, which there are mind mapping experts as well, and all these techniques are definitely going to help you out. So what can be done actually when you are running the hackathons, annual events, competitions and all, those who are participating in that, before actually coming for those particular events, or giving a or post that event, you can actually have a creative thinking workshop. It really works well with the student. That has been like my own experience as such. Next, so these, as I mentioned, there are hardly 3 or 4 ideas under each of the banner, but then these ideas really work well. I won't name the institution. The institution is right here in Mumbai. If you have, nothing works like money. If you have a patent, or if you, these are the ideas for promotion of innovation at the institution level. I don't know how feasible it would be at the institution level, each of the institution level. That depends on the management as well as the financial capacity of the institution as well at times. So one of the institution is doing a simple to promote the innovation. What they are doing is they are providing a bonus for each of the patent filed or granted, as well as beyond a certain impact factor aata hai, and this is not a research funding, but that amount may be 5 or 10K, like typical impact factor ke beyond aapka research paper aata hai, then institution would pay a certain amount to you. That's how the idea works, and it is actually working, because we know practically nothing works beyond money is the best motivator for almost everyone, right? So that is one idea. IIT Delhi has allowed PhD for startup registered. Now, if you are a student, if you have a startup registered with Government of India, and in that case you can, instead of going for your entire thesis, I know how difficult it is to actually, although I'm not a doctor, I've not done my PhD, but then I know what kind of efforts are being required to actually do the PhD as well at times. 5-6 years of pura life aapka, you are kind of involved into that, right? So IIT Delhi has got this option of having a PhD for if you are a startup and it is registered with the government as a startup. In that case, you can get a PhD. A great idea, I would say, to promote the innovation, or the ideas of with respect to the startup. As see, moving ahead, the education system is definitely going to change a lot, and the biggest trigger for that has already happened, and the trigger is definitely the COVID-19 or Corona. We never, so I had an interaction with few of the faculties. I just asked them, are the students actually attending the webinars? And the answer was, no, actually what happens, they are logging in and at times they are not attending the webinars. We know that, but we don't have a control over it. And since they are at home, they have actually got many reasons to tell, light nahi tha, network nahi tha, and all this kind of reasons. But what is the reason this is happening actually? One of the answers that came out was, suddenly the students have been shifted from physical mode of learning to online mode, which we were not at all actually prepared for. right? So this particular thing is definitely, so if like then there were lots of memes as well which came via WhatsApp कि कल तक जिस मोबाइल को आप कॉलेज में अलाउ नहीं करते थे उसकी वजह से आपका कॉलेज रन कर रहा है, right? This is going to be a kind of a disruptor for the entire education system as such, wherein you would have lots of newer ideas or newer things that need to be done at the educational institution level, and this is going to be a trigger. So these things, like for example, if you are an autonomous institution or a private university, something like this really works well for you for like providing the PhD as well. So with, I really like the concept. This was very much highlighted. How it is implemented at IIT Delhi, frankly speaking, I'm not aware of, but then this stuck my mind, and I always include this particular idea as well for promotion of innovation. As I mentioned, lots of institutions, in fact many of my clients already have a IPR cell in place. IPR cell is different from what you have as a MHRD IIC. Many of the institution, at least the big institution, would have the MHRD Innovation Incubation Cell, which would be in place at the college. But IP cell, and what is IP cell, what is IP policy, definitely I'm going to discuss through next few slides as well. One of my clients has got this practice of every master's thesis or a PhD thesis goes through IP cell first, and thereafter it is submitted. This works really well for IP generation, because at times क्या होता है, आपने जो research किया है उसमें already IP generated है, but you are not aware. I have, in fact, yesterday only I had a word with one of my clients, and she told me from Mumbai itself. She told me, and in fact, I'll tell you, she had a great invention, but she submitted the thesis. The thesis is available on Shodhganga already, and now she wants to file a patent. That is not possible. You are already killed the novelty for your invention. जब आपका invention Shodhganga पे available है. Now, this kind of practice, every master's or PhD thesis goes through IP cell, the IP cell which has already been established. This is helping the institution to come up with, like, some of the IPR filings related things as well. The number of filings are definitely increasing because of this particular practice as such, right? So whether this is possible at the institution level, that you can check it out. But I think this is one of the better ideas, because instead of moving for like newer ideas, you can promote your innovation with this kind of, so that at least जो student routine कर रहे हैं, thesis कर रहे हैं for masters and PhD, they are doing this, उसमें से कुछ निकल के आ सकता है क्या? That is something which can be actually a good start as such for the promotion of innovation as well. And see what happens many of the times, the person who is doing the thesis, the scientist, the technical person, may not be in a position to actually understand what kind of IP may come out of it. मेरा जो पहला session था, that was more about types of IP. What is most significant thing is, what is the right type of IP for your kind of thesis or invention? If you can answer that question, then probably your job is much more easier. But if you cannot do that, let us take it ahead and let us do it independently as such, right? And we have been doing this. We have been doing with most of the clients, wherein we don't charge to evaluate whether something is patentable. अगर कुछ patentable है, thereafter, of course, for the patent filing purpose or design filing or trademark filing purpose, so अगर if you are filing, then only there are charges. So this also works well for promotion of innovation. And of course, what is its impact, that also we are going to see. For entrepreneurship, of course, I think most of the parts are covered in yesterday's sessions, like Campus Connect. I think Pankaj is right here, I believe. Pankaj Kumar from IIS University, Jaipur. He has and his university has this particular concept called Campus Connect, which I mentioned कि जो आपके winners हैं in the competition, they are given access to have a actually their business setup working in the university premises or that particular campus premises, and that is working really well as such. Like, you know, I think we discussed more about the incubation centers as well. We have been involved into like, you know, with few particular institutions, the internship at startups that really works well. I'll tell you how it is symbiotic or synergistic kind of effect. As I mentioned, for the startups to work, they have to actually do almost everything on their own, and they have lack of resources. The students, on the other hand, are willing to learn, but they don't know the proper channel to have more learning coming out of it. So we are providing, like, beyond the incubation center visits and all, we are providing the students an opportunity to work with some of the startups as well. Like, for example, if someone is coming from the let's say IT engineering side, then probably they would be working on with a tech startup, like, you know, wherein of course there would be proper things in place like confidentiality disclosure agreement and all. At the end of the day, either the interns, of course the interns learn a lot through the startup association. There is a networking, as well as in few cases the startups even pay some stipend as well. एंड फाइनली ऑफ कोर्स आपका जो एकेडमिक क्रेडेंशियल्स है उसमें वो चीज ऐड ऑन हो जाता है इन योर रिज्यूमे, as well as I would say you would be, in most of the cases you would be actually getting a certificate as well, like, you know, that works really well with the students as well. So these are some of the ideas which have stuck with me, which I have been part of, or I have seen directly at the institutions, and these are kind of practices which have been really doing well. What you can do is, if you feel like you have a practice which may be included here, which is the best practice I would call, okay, and let us, you can put it under the chat option. Let us see if there are any really good practices, which, so I believe it would be more of an interactive session, understanding each other's requirement, as well as, like, you know, understanding the practices as well. What you can also do is kindly mention your institution name as well, so that would help us understand which institution has got this kind of practice as well. Now let's move on to like, you know, something which is directly connected to our activities as such with respect to IPR policy. We spoke of IPR policy, like, you know, we are speaking for IPR policy from day one actually, like, you know. Now I have got some hypothetical cases. These are actually not hypothetical, but these have actually happened with few of my clients when they approached us. A professor beyond office hours provides consultancy and develops some IP which is in the same field. For example, biotechnology का professor है and he develops a product which is into biotechnology field. He files a patent and gets the product commercialized. Does the institute have any legal right over the invention? Let me tell you, the answer is no. No, if you don't have an IP policy in place. Another example is the science professor beyond office hours provide consultancy and develop some IP which is not into science but some other domain, telecom field. Again, he files a patent and gets the product commercialized. Of course, in this case, so there is no question as such. If you have an IP policy in place, still you cannot include this as such, like, you know, as a clause for that particular policy or as a practice for that particular IPR policy. Actually, IP policy answers all these questions. I think, okay, I just skipped this particular slides. One of the research students file a patent without informing a student. Now, what is the option left with the institution? What can be done? Or an ex-employee leaves your organization and takes the research know-how and publishes a research paper with his new institute or organization. These are I have live example. I can tell you the name of the people as well as the organization as well. This happens very frequently. A professor files a patent, the institute provides funding for filing the patent, the invention gets commercialized. Who would take the licensing fee, the institute or the professor or the students? Now these are some of the questions which have been actually and as I mentioned, it's just not about patents, it's about the copyright or trademark or design, for that. Basically, IP policy is a document which answers all the above questions and lays the guidelines for the institute, for the student, for the faculties, for the researchers, for the master students, with respect to working as well as ownership of any kind of intellectual property rights. That is something which would be done through this particular IPR policy. Now, how is it actually? What should an ideal IPR policy as such contain or include as such? Ownership, who owns, disclosure of the inventions, कब करना है, कब नहीं करना है. See, what happens is if you don't have a policy, the students would disclose it on Facebook or Twitter or WhatsApp, and what is going to happen with the invention? That eureka moment that you had in your lab, और आपने एक बहुत अच्छा poem लिखा है and just आपने उसका, and which may have some commercial value, or you have developed some technology which is, let's say, in a particular sector. That eureka moment is actually, you're losing that if you are disclosing it to everyone upfront. We need to have these policies in place. IP licensing and agreement, the confidentiality disclosure agreements you need to sign. The entire process is actually included in something called as IPR policy. The technology transfer, the collaborations, actually, the infringement and damages means, for example, if someone else uses your invention, what are you going to do? Are you going to enforce your IP rights as well? All these things are contained in a document that is called as a IPR policy document. And we'll see different aspects or facets of a IPR policy document as well. Now the next thing that we are going to see here is also the content would include conflict of interests, dispute resolution, the jurisdiction, the applicability of IPR policy, the collaborative research, as well as the funding agencies related document. All this would be part of a IPR policy. And let me tell you, if you have an IPR policy in place, when you are dealing with the other parties for collaboration or funding, that point of time, the other party or the collaborator would also be cautious enough to be actually, kind of ethical or professional, instead of, because many of the times it happens कि I'm disclosing my invention to someone, बाद में पता चलता है उस बंदे ने ही उस पे research paper publish कर दिया. Right? These things happen. These are common practices that I have seen it, and it's just not about academia. I don't want to just pinpoint the academia. It happens even in the industry or across the sectors. It happens actually. Now, how to draft an IPR policy? Basically, it has to be as per the needs of the institute. कि आपका taking into consideration different types of IP as well, means आपका work domain कौन सा है. Based on that, you need to actually have your IPR policy in place, as well as you can use this particular policy while negotiating with the external funding agencies as well as collaborators. Draft your own legal policy based on the legal experience, instead of copy pasting a policy, क्योंकि हर कॉलेज का रिक्वायरमेंट अलग है. Every child is unique, उसका requirements अलग है, वैसे ही हर कॉलेज अलग है, उनके streams अलग है, the kind of research that is happening, उनके collaborators अलग है, उनकी funding agencies अलग है. All these things are different. What is required in IP policies you have to actually kind of have the feel of the institute, and it has to be customized only. Don't go with the readily available policy. If you want a format, you can get the format online, but then try to customize it internally as well with your IP cell, IIC, or the entrepreneurship cell as well. Now, what is the applicability of IPR policy as such? Of course, when we say patents, it is for the inventions, collaborations and funding agencies. Copyright, अपने जो notes बनाए हैं, मैंने जो teaching material, मेरा book है, मेरा research paper है, course content है, QIP programs है, CP programs है, faculty development program है, उसमें जो videos बनाए हैं वो है, photography है, thesis है, या आपके college में जो live performances हो रहे हैं during the cultural events, all these are part of IP policy. For example, at a particular event at your college, कोई बहुत अच्छा performance हुआ है, which is live on the YouTube now, or for example, it is earning some money out of it, then who would own the money? That those kind of questions need to be answered through IP policy. Trademark इंस्टीट्यूट का लोगो है, यूनिवर्सिटी का लोगो है, या फिर like for example in few cases like the designs which have been actually created, like product design in terms of actual end product, specifically in the engineering domain and all. Of course, GI is applicable, I think, mostly with the if you are working in the agricultural area. In that case, you can actually have GI also included in your institutional IPR policy as such. So this is about IP policy. We have got lots of institutions who has got a IP policy. Now, how is IPR policy actually helpful? It is an internal policy document which help you streamline the research and collaboration commercialization process as well. Definitely, it's going to help you in NAC, NBA, NIRF, MHRD, IIC का activity show करने के लिए, entrepreneurship cell के लिए भी, for all your collaborations, licensing, and as well as the technology transfer as well. So all these things are included in the IPR policy document, which may be a part of either your IIC, in Institution Innovation Cell, the ED, what we call as entrepreneurship cell, or if at all those 20%, and I think 21% now out of 241, they have a IP cell in their place, then have a IPR actually policy as well. Sorry, IP policy is already in place to make sure कि ये सारे points उसमें cover हो रहे हैं आपके, or else you can actually get a legal opinion or advice from someone as well, to get proper idea about all these things. Also what we have got is, of course, with like a disclaimer as such, we are working with educational institutions, colleges on different business model which can be part of your best practices with respect to the students or the innovation. I have actually included along with the financial details as well for that, wherein we have got like 30 hours IPR course, which is customized for the I think I have included also the target audience as well for the faculties, masters and research students, done at the institution, wherein we are providing the joint certificate between Patlex and the institution, jahan pe, of course, the financial parts or terms can be actually worked out specifically. Then you can actually have a creative thinking workshop. We can arrange for the experts, anyone can attend it. So irrespective of number of students, it would be costing around 40 to 50K. That's the approximate figure. Okay. Then for patent, we can have a special course on patent drafting and filing. At times, students are pretty much, or even faculty members are pretty much interested in this, but the charges therein would be really very high, like almost 10K per student. You can have a lecture. So we are working with a particular institution under the brand name of Pharma Talks, wherein we have a lecture series on innovation entrepreneurship, wherein we are jointly doing it with a institution jahan pe anyone can of course attend it from that particular institution, but आपका institution का requirement क्या है, क्या streams है, uske according, so you would provide us the requirement. Okay, this is our requirement in terms of, this is our requirement in terms of the kind of lectures we want, and we would be providing the right kind of expertise for those particular topics. That's how it is working. We are, of course, we have a team who would be helping in terms of incubation services in terms of whatever is required at the institution level to start an incubation center, or to run or to grow the incubation center as well. So based on the activities, the charges may be variable. Finally, IP cell establishment and running. Yes, we are doing it for a few colleges, up to 15,000 per month, which would be like, so you have a IP cell established at the institution, but that is completely outsourced to us. Under that, we would be either conducting program, and it is not something wherein someone from us would be coming to the campus every day, but it is like decided like for 2 or 3 days, this particular person would be available in the campus, maybe through conducting the workshops, or for example during those 2 or 3 days, all the faculty members or the research students come to us with their queries related to IPR for patent filing or design filing and all, and that is actually really working well in terms of generating more IP as well, right? Of course, we help in terms of customizing the IPR policies at the institution level as well, wherein the cost is up to 10K one-time cost, including a session how to implement that particular IPR policy at the college level as well. As I mentioned, these are all something which may be as a part of a policy, but this is something which we are doing on the business front as well. So as I mentioned, there's a disclaimer that our business is directly involved in this, and you can take your calls, what to do and all, judiciously as well. So this is what I have for the day actually, and actually I'll be covering the questions. You can put your questions, as well as if you have got the IP policy in place, okay, or any practices which you believe help your institution in terms of entrepreneurship, innovation, and patent or IPR as well. I'll be more than happy to take this right here for the information of everyone. Let me go to the questions now. We got lots of good morning messages. Yeah. Can a science coaching class open such idea generation section to promote students towards startup and innovation in terms of providing platform? So it's a purely a commercial thing. You can do it, Sumit Kumar. I don't think there should be any issue. Coaching, these are the things which can be done by anyone. But why we are telling the colleges is because that helps in terms of reaching the student. Already crowd hai aapke paas. Because for a coaching class also, I think the same, but the kind of infrastructure required at times may be really very different. So that's how Sajjan Gaikwad, our education system hinders creative thinking. It stresses on exams and collecting information. I think you have very precisely put it here. It stresses on the significance is more towards the examinations as such, as well as the significance is to get the marks instead of. So let me tell you, when I go to any of the colleges or mostly the pharma institutions, I was a very average student throughout my studies. And I'll tell you, one of the university toppers who was studying with me right now works with me as a consultant. So I'm kind of providing him some kind of, I would say, business, so exams are like, you know, important. It's not that they are not important, but your level of significance that has been provided to exam, I believe that is way more higher than that is actually required, and specifically the marking system and all, right? So thank you so much for your comments, Sanjay Kelkar. Sanjay, yes. Alekar, sorry. Yeah. Anu, in today's scenario, do you think we'll get permission to start anything new related to academics? Why not? And why do you think so, Ki, that we won't get permission to start anything new in academics in terms of any of these practices? Many of these institutions are already doing it. What is required, I believe, is more of that willingness to do it, and not only doing or starting it, but continuing with it, as well as implementing. The implementation or execution is more important. What happens is, typically with these kind of programs is, हम लोग program करते हैं during those 6-7 days, everyone is pumped up. Once we move back to our own routine, that point of time, like, you know, it's almost like very difficult to have the things again in place, actually, like, you know. And in fact, that was one of the reasons I wanted to put the videos on my own YouTube channel as such. Okay, reason being ki at least it would be available for everyone to go through it again, and that may help you moving ahead as well. So this is Anu's question. I think I have tried to answer this. Pankaj Kumar, yes, I was. Pankaj Kumar is from IIS University, Jaipur, wherein we had an opportunity to conduct a fully funded IPR awareness campaign, which was funded by Government of India. And we were very happy to see the kind of activities IIS University Jaipur has got. They have the virtual IP cell, and they have actually filed numerous IP applications, as well as many of them are actually granted as well. Thank you so much, Pankaj, for like, you know, being part of this, and I really appreciate the kind of support that you provide at every forum. Yes, Prajna Shetty. Okay. Pankaj Kumar is also providing, there is government scheme for IP facilitator. No Indian need to pay for any professional fees if you are a startup, actually, like, you know, for the startup. Government has suggested IP policy for universities, and all universities may adopt the same as an institutional IP policy as well. That is absolutely correct. And in fact, as I mentioned, we are actually working with some government universities to draft their IPR policy as well. Now, research faculty, preferably a joint applicant with parent institution. Let me just add few more to like, you know, participants are joining. Yeah, research faculty, preferably be a joint applicant with parent institution. The fees will be paid. Thank you so much, Pankaj, for your. Does RUSA give the funding for IPR policies? Sunil Ingale ka question. Why do you want a RUSA funding for having an IPR policy in place? Hardly 10,000 rupees लगता है आपको IPR policy बनाने में, and implementation is at the institution level. Whom should we contact for making IPR policy? A lawyer or a consultant? Tejashree Rankhambe. And how this policy would help or other teachers who are doing their research? Very nice question, Tejashree. See, there is always when we say about IP, it's always about lawyers versus technical people. Now I'll tell you what, when we so you can actually reach lawyers as well as technical people like us as well. But then does the lawyer is the lawyer in a position to understand your requirements locally at your institution? If you are a science like your institute, or a biotechnology institute, or an engineering institute, someone who is from different background and then did his law would be in a position to understand it? Probably no, right? You know. So as I mentioned, of course, I have provided the, with the disclaimer that this is a business for us. Okay, so you can get connected to both of them. Kavita Pandey, has plagiarism become more popular recently, an integral part of research publication? This is from Kavita Pandey, and I think you have already got. It's not a question; it's more of a statement. I would believe, and that is actually the truth. My question is, Sneha Lokande QIP is quality improvement programs actually. These are, I believe, run by AICTE as such. So please suggest what best practices a college can have for environment and gender issues. Samruddhi Chauhan se question here. I think I need to think over this because I'm not an expert as such. And see, my session has been through my experiences, and my experiences with these particular sectors as such have been really very less, I would say, Samruddhi. I'm sorry for this. Priya Sundararajan, does the logo of a college have to be filed as it's a trademark, ma'am, not as a copyright? Even if it's old college, maybe 100-year-old, yes, it gets, so trademark case we have seen it is not necessary to protect it independently. But then, for example, आपका कोई brand है which you have created. For example, आपने अपने कोई annual event को नाम दिया हुआ है which is really very famous, like जैसे हम TEDx बोलते हैं, Josh Talks बोलते हैं, वैसे आपके college का कोई brand है for the event. For that you can get a trademark. That would be possible, Priya Sundararajan. Then what is survival ratio of startups in India? Prakash Masurkar, I think in the startup session we had a lot of discussion over this. The failure rate is really very high. See, we are traditionally we have been a system which is not pro innovation, I would say. Okay. This is coming again from the education system again. Like we are more bothered about running the race and getting those marks and मैं first हूँ, मैं second हूँ, the merit and all, but that I think that is one of the reasons we have very high failure rates for startups as well, because जो बंदा, see, suddenly what has happened with the online sessions, the same thing happens with startups as well. No one knows anything, and you're just jumping into that, right? But then I think as an economy or as a country, we are growing in this particular domain, and we have got really some good role models of the startups which are doing really well as well. Yeah. Is the Chandrima Ghosh, is the different procedure for copyright of photography, logo and photos? See, Chandrima, I think we discussed during the session of copyright. You can go through that video again. Copyright is automatically protected. As such, you don't need to file for the copyright independently. What you can do is you can actually, if you feel there is a business potential, you can actually file for the copyright as well. Jitendra Startup, yes, a trademark for brand name is possible. Yeah, provided it is new, not something which is already in the public domain. Then content create in Instagram page. It's not part of a patent. It may be part of a copyright actually. Content related, everything is part of your copyright. Beta, I would say the video, the photography, the writings, the notes, everything may be part of a copyright as such. Then we got lots of comments. Informative session. Thank you so much. What is QIP program, Sneha? I think I have taken it. We can trademark for some product brand name. Yes. Thank you. What is punishment of privacy of registered design? This is coming from Khan Farah Tehzeeb. I think I'm not getting the question actually. Like, what is actually expected with this particular question. Can we take trademark? I think this is, if I want to publish my self PhD thesis work in the form of a research paper, then what is a way to avoid plagiarism? This is coming from Sarla Dabholkar. I think the best part herein would be I think most of the PhD people, they publish their research paper before submission. What they do is they submit the articles or the research papers to the journals, and but during in the meantime their thesis gets submitted, and thereafter their papers also get published. I mean, I don't foresee any plagiarism related issues in this kind of situation. Probably I'm not understanding the question as well. Yeah. So thank you so much, Sneha, Ruma Dhanavte, Praveen Godinde, Rani Tyagi. How can we copyright the function? तो जय श्री सूर्यवंशी, आपके जो photos है automatically are protected with you. See, when actually I'll tell you what happened with me. Actually, we are starting a new website for our one of the business ventures. The person who is creating the coding for that website, he told me, sir, IP हमारे पास रहेगा, intellectual property हमारे पास रहेगा. He is aware of what intellectual property is. Similarly, photos का जो copyright है, when you are giving it to a photographer, let's say, then of course in most of the cases photographers are not allowed not knowing about the copyright issues. That point of time, if required, you can actually have the kind of, see, all these are legal things. And first of all, Jayashri, why do you want a photo ka copyright over it? See, you go for it, filing for it only if there is a business commercialization or business potential coming out of it. Okay. Otherwise, it is automatic. Actually, what you get is a automatic right in case of copyright and trademark the moment it is created. First slide, Gurmeet Wadhwa. First slide of your contact. I think आज के slides में मेरा contact number नहीं है. Yeah, but I think you can go through any of the videos in last few days. उनमें मेरा सारे details as a contact and email address है. Pushpa Sinkar, thank you so much. Pranali, Amrit Patel, thank you. Suju, Gujar, Maitri, Jayashri, yes. Thank you so much. I think we are done with the questions as well. I was actually expecting at least some of the practices that are actually done at the institutional level as well, at the college level, at your campus or your premises as well. I would have loved to hear that, but then I think maybe people are kind of either there are two circumstances, I would say. One is people are not willing to share on a platform like this, but or else it may be like we are still in a position, or to do having these kind of practices at the institutional level. But if you are actually handling the IQAC cell, then probably this presentation is going to help you. As well as do let me know via email or phone as well, or the messages, the kind of practices that you are actually adopting at your institution level. So thank you so much. I think this was a very short session, but as I mentioned, instead of collating all the things across the world, what I try to do is I try to include those things which I've been part of, as well as my experience has been with respect to best practices in terms of innovation, IPR and patenting. As an individual, I would love to be part of any of the venture that would be actually or any of the services that would be required for the institution level. Thank you so much. I'll just hand this over to Revati to conclude. Yeah, Revati, over to you.
Hello. Yes, sir.
Yes, Revati.
Yes. Thank you, sir, for a very, very informative session. But today, before we end, or we wind up rather, I have certain requests to all the delegates. As far as our tomorrow's final session is concerned, our tomorrow's topic is social media and technology for teaching and learning. Tomorrow, all delegates are required to attend the complete session from beginning till end. Tomorrow's session has to be attended by all the delegates along with the question answer session, because after that there will be valedictory session as well as the feedback will be taken from all the delegates. So please take efforts and see to it that you attain tomorrow's session completely.
Revati, for a moment,
Yes, sir.
can I just have a request for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So as far as feedbacks are concerned, it would be really appreciated if you can have a, let's say, 1 or 2 minutes video as well, like, so that would be like a memory for every one of you. And if you can share those videos, we'll try to put it on the, of course, the YouTube channel for everyone's information as such. And that may surely be helping the institute as well, as for us as well. Thank you. Yeah, Revati, over to you.
Yes, sir. Definitely everything is planned, and definitely we are going to show the videos of the delegates who will be giving their reaction for all the 7 days altogether. Thank you, sir, for your suggestion, and obviously it is accepted already. Well, so I think we will wind up today early, and we will wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow's treasure, rather, that will be the better word. So, thank you very much. Have a good day.